What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to break down how I used intermittent fasting to stay shredded all year round. Very, very easy strategy that I've been implementing recently, and I'm going to explain to you guys exactly how you can use it too, maybe when to use it, maybe when not to use it, the advantages, how I do it myself, how I structure it, everything you need to know from my perspective. So let's get into this. Okay. Now, the first kind of biggest benefit that I see when it comes to intermittent fasting is actually the structure and the productivity that it provides with. Now, when I say intermittent fasting, this is basically just a time restricted window as to when you can eat. Okay. Now, I'm not really strict with this. You know, some people have got this whole like 16-8 scenario where they don't eat for 16 hours, they eat for 8. I don't really do that. Like, I'm also just kind of push my first meal back, depending on my schedule, but I typically just try not to eat in the first few hours in the day. Like, I don't eat as soon as I get out of bed. And this is what I used to do, okay? But now I don't. First thing this really does provide me with is it just gives me a lot of structure, because I know that first thing in the morning that I don't need to prepare food. I don't need to eat food in the morning. So it gives me structure. It means I can get up. I know that I don't need to cook any food, and I can just get on with work, okay? I can just get stuck into it. I can do my cardio. I don't need to cook, okay? And this structure is great. It builds structure into your day. You're not kind of like willy-nilly picking meals at random. Oh, you know, I'm going past a service station, I better grab something. It's like you have structure to your day. Structure is so important when it comes to nutrition. The intermittent fasting really provides this because it's a really easy rule. Like, it's just a rule that you can follow. It's like, okay, I just don't need to eat until this time. I'm not going to eat until this time. So it really builds out a very simple structure without it being too complicated, okay? We're humans. We're good at following rules. So if we create this rule in our schedule, it's really, really good for you in terms of routines. That's the first thing. And second is productivity. Now, when I say productivity, I find that when I eat in the morning, I can sometimes get a bit sluggish. Depends what I eat, but I used to just smash a load of carbs in the morning, like a lot of oats, and I just found that my productivity sucked. Whereas right now, like if I get up, give it an hour, have a coffee, like I feel so much better. I feel more awake, get way more alert from that coffee as well. Body's more receptive to caffeine. And I just get loads of work done. So like the first like 3 or 4 hours, you know, I'm working hard, headphones on. So from a productivity standpoint, fasting is absolutely fantastic. And when I eat that first meal, sometimes things can slow down a little bit, but now I know what to eat to keep my energy nice and high, okay? Which typically is a high fat, high protein meal. I try not to eat too many carbs in the first half of the day. I keep them to my post-workout. So that's the first benefit. Number two is it's calorie control without tracking. Now, I don't really track my calories for 90% of the year. I guess every now and then, if I'm like, I really want to get that a little bit leaner, I might go back to tracking just to make sure I'm on top of things. But then once I've tracked for like a week, I'll probably stop because the food I eat is very similar. So, you know, I don't really need to do it all the time. But again, it's a really easy way to control your calories without tracking. Because if you hate the idea of just constantly, you know, on MyFitnessPal all the time, you know, once you've obviously gone in shape, you don't need to do that. Because like when you're at maintenance, you can pretty much just, you know, have this kind of calorie control through only eating at certain times during the day. So, you know, push that first meal back to 12, or you only really got 8 hours, 9 hours where you can eat your calories. It's just less time to eat. And again, if you structure this properly, you're not going to get too hungry. So this is why I like it, because it means I don't have to track. I can just follow a very simple rule, and I can still stay on top of my body composition. And number three is bigger meals. Like, we all don't eat food. You get all these, a lot of people say they're foodies, they love to eat. I like to eat big meals. You know, I eat out all the time in Thailand, okay? Something I do very regularly. And the reason I'm able to do that and stay in shape is that I intermittent fast. So I don't eat loads of food in the morning, so I can push my first meal back, save a lot of calories for the evening time. I don't have my biggest meal typically in the evening. So what I can do here, especially if I know I'm eating out in the evening, is I can keep those calories right back. And then from there, I can enjoy bigger meals, more calories, more filling, okay? You can actually go and eat out and not have to worry too much because you know you've got 1,000 or 1,500 calories banked, which means it's so much easier. If you really enjoy food, then I would recommend that you fast sometimes, because you can eat those bigger meals without it affecting you too much. This is what we focus on a lot of our clients. If they're eating out, you know, I'll tell them to fast in the morning. I'll structure it in a way that helps them. They get to the evening and then they can have that bigger meal, you know, without having to worry about it, okay? Now, these are the mistakes that you can make with fasting. So things that you need to be aware of, the mistakes that I normally see that you need to try and avoid. Number one is binging at night, okay? Now, what happens with a lot of people is they do their fast and they don't really know how to do it properly. They probably just don't quite structure it in the way they should. And then they just get to the evening, they are starving, but they feel that because they fasted that they can then go and eat loads of calories, and they just binge, and it just offsets all the hard work. Fasting is not a magical tool. It does not guarantee that you're going to lose fat. All it does is it just creates that shorter eating window, which just makes it easier to stay within a calorie deficit. That's it. So when you binge at night and you smash thousands of calories, it is not going to help you lose fat. So if you are a binger and you struggle with the calories at night, I actually probably would recommend you don't fast. You do need to have a bit of self-control. Possibly something that you're going to work into later on, but if you are, let's say, not in a good routine at the moment, your habits aren't great, you're overweight, maybe don't fast to start with. But when it's a bit more of an advanced approach, when you get in shape and then you're trying to stay that, Number two, the biggest mistake is not hitting enough protein. Now, because you're eating less meals, obviously there's less time to eat protein, there's less protein servings. Sometimes people don't hit their protein intake because they're like, shit, I've only got like 2-3 meals I can get my protein in. You have to still make sure you get your protein in regardless, otherwise you're gonna not get the results that you want. So what needs to be the case here is more protein, higher protein servings in each meal that you consume. So typically for me now, I still eat 3 to 4 meals even though I'm fasting, but each of those meals has got a lot of protein in it, you know, like 60, 70 grams of protein sometimes, and that really gets me to where I want to get to, which is going to hit me at 200 grams per day, which is roughly what I aim for. Okay, and the last one is eating junk as an excuse. This is the big issue I see, is that people think because they're fasting, this means they can, you know, break their fast with this like huge English breakfast, or they can just eat loads of shit because they fast all day and oh, I've got the calories there now. Once you do this, you just end up overeating. You feel like crap, you're not eating whole foods, and typically, again, you're going to put yourself in a position where you don't really get results, okay? Fasting is not an excuse to eat junk food. You should still be eating very, very good quality food when you fast. And how you break your fast is even more important as well. I'll probably do a separate video on that. But the type of foods you should be eating to break your fast, they should not be carbs that, you know, high on the glycemic index, which can just cause you to feel more and more and more and more hungry. Okay, you should be breaking your fast with a high protein, high healthy fat meal. And this is going to regulate your appetite a lot better, okay? Not eating shitty junk food, which is just going to get you more hungry. Who is fasting for? Who is it not for? This is going to be the last part of this video. Firstly, if you are a busy professional, okay? You are, you know, a busy dad, you're going out, you've got a busy work job, you've got a high pressure job, you're very busy in the morning, like as soon as you get out of bed, and you're out that door, like boom, like you got so much work you need to do. It's really effective if you're like that, because as I say, you don't have to worry about making food in the morning. You don't have to eat that food. You have more time to just get yourself to work. And we all know that the first few hours of the day is where we get the most amount of work done. We always feel our most productive in the morning. So if you are a busy guy or an entrepreneur, you know, you're running businesses or whatever, like I think fasting is a really, really useful tool for you to use, okay? So that's the first person I say it's for. If you work in an office, again, you're gonna kind of run into that category. So typically I think it works well if you're in that kind of like high performing, you know, position. I feel like it works really well. I probably wouldn't recommend this if you've got more of a manual job, you know, you're walking around, let's say, you know, you're like a builder or, you know, you're a tradesman. Fasting may not be as effective for you because if you're, you know, very active, you can get quite hungry, and actually having those calories in the morning, you know, is probably going to be more beneficial. You can test it. Maybe you can just push your first meal back by a little bit. This is what I do with some of our clients that are in that position. We'll just maybe fast a little bit, but not too much. We don't take the piss. But if you are very busy with your job, if you know you're like a shift worker or something like that, probably wouldn't use fasting. It's probably just not going to be for you. Okay. And the last person that fasting is definitely not for is, again, back to this here, like if you struggle at night and you are a binger and you have a real tendency to just, you know, eat crap, I probably wouldn't fast, because you are going to get to the evening, you may feel a bit more hungry, and essentially that you may end up messing everything up. If you really do struggle at night, maybe just kind of structure your nutrition so you eat a bit more in the daytime so you don't get super hungry at night. That might be a better strategy for you. There's no harm in trying to see how fasting works for you, but as I say, it's a bit more of an advanced strategy. I believe that fasting only works when you kind of really got the basics and you understand it a little bit better. If you're fresh out the blocks, you know, you're 30, 40 pounds overweight, fasting right from the get-go might just put you in a, you know, even worse position with the way that you look at food. So anyway, guys, I hope you found this video useful on fasting. As I say, this is what I do year round to stay shredded. I'm not super strict with it. I'm not the whole 16-8. I just do it what works around my schedule, which typically means my first meal comes in around 11, 12 o'clock. And then from there, I'm able to eat bigger meals throughout the day, keep my calories under control while staying in amazing shape. If you found this video useful, guys, make sure you smash the like button, hit subscribe for future videos, and I'll catch you in the next one.